Today in the kitchen, I have a wonderful recipe for you. Since it is fall, we are going to be making pumpkin banana bread without all the processed carbohydrates and without all the processed sugars. So to start this recipe out, you're going to want to preheat your oven to 350. Go ahead and get that going so that it is already ready to go once the batter is made. First, we are going to be starting with our wet ingredients. So we are going to be starting with, of course, banana bread is going to need bananas. So we are going to be using 3 bananas. You want about medium size. They don't have to be super large or small. And I went ahead and I mashed them. And I'm going to go ahead and place those into my mixer. Next is going to be 4 eggs. 4 tablespoons of melted coconut oil. I have butter flavored coconut oil just so that it has that natural butter flavor inside the bread, but you are more than welcome to use regular coconut oil. But again, it's melted and it's 4 tablespoons. The next ingredient is going to be 1/3 of a cup of almond butter. Then we're going to put in 1/3 of a cup of pureed pumpkin. You can make your own perfectly since there's lots of pumpkins around. You can go ahead and cook it and puree it yourself. I used an organic canned pumpkin that is going to work just fine for this recipe. All right, now that is all blended together, we want to add a little bit of sweetness. The banana is going to sweeten it up on its own, but we want to add just a little bit without adding processed sugar. So I'm going to be adding liquid stevia to my banana bread. I've got 2 different types of stevia here. I like to use sweet leaf. I've got pumpkin spice, and then I also have vanilla cream. And I'm just going to do a few drops of each. You may want to taste it just to make sure that it is sweet enough for you because everybody tastes stevia a little bit differently. Now we want to put in our dry ingredients to the batter. We are going to be using a 1/2 of a cup of flour. Now I've divided that in so that 1/4 of a cup is almond flour and then 1/4 of it is coconut flour. You can do all of one or all of the other. It does not matter for this recipe. It comes out the exact same. So for this recipe, I just decided to do 1/2 and 1/2. So I have a tablespoon of cinnamon. I have 1/4 of a teaspoon of salt. I have 1/4 of a teaspoon of nutmeg, 1/4 of a teaspoon of cloves, and then I have a teaspoon of baking soda and a teaspoon of baking powder. Now we also want to add in vanilla. I use powdered vanilla, but you are more than welcome to use regular liquid vanilla. If you're going to use the liquid, I would probably do a tablespoon of the vanilla. In the powder, I use 1 teaspoon of it because it's a little bit more potent. And then you're just going to go ahead and put these all in here. And then we want to give it one last little stir here to combine all the ingredients. All right, depending on how much liquid stevia or liquid vanilla you put in, you may have to put in a little bit more coconut flour. So if you have to, maybe put in like a teaspoon at a time, just so that you have a good consistency batter. You don't want it too runny, but you also don't want it too thick that you can barely even stir it. You want a good consistency for the batter itself. So we're going to go ahead and pour this into our pan. Now, I have taken a bread pan and I have lined it with parchment paper just for easy cleanup. Who wants to do dishes? I know I don't. So I'm going to go ahead and pour this into my pan that has been lined with the parchment paper. You don't have to put any butter or anything like that, grease, to keep it from sticking. The parchment paper will do that for you. All right, it's all in the pan now. You can also add nuts to this. You can add whatever you want to kind of give it your own flair, or you can eat it just the exact way that it is. This way is really good. So at this point, we're going to go ahead and put it into the oven. It is going to need to bake for about 50 to 55 minutes. Depending on your oven. Again, 350 degrees for about 50 to 55 minutes. And then when it is done, we can enjoy it.